So I just received the Vevor, or however you say it, alignment plates. This one does come with the digital protractor for setting actual alignment other than just toe. Don't really care about that. Going back and forth looking at a couple different brands, I ended up deciding on this unit, not just because it's half the price of their main competitor, but the one thing I couldn't understand was these guys actually have a bent edge. So when you set this up against your tire, as long as it's flat, you know that the plate isn't, skewed one way or the other. Where their competitors just have this, 45 edge and don't have this ear. That was kind of weird. They might have some extra alignment studs or something, but it didn't really show anything in the pictures that I was looking at. It looked like it had the same adjustment slots here to touch your wheel and stuff like that. So I'm gonna give this a shot. I'm gonna do the alignment on my 68 Camaro, change suspension all over the place and stuff. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be going with new control arms or anything. And I just thought it'd be really nice, even if it does cost a couple $100, to have something that gets me darn close to be able to do my own adjustments every time I change something suspension wise, because I like to change parts regularly. So I figure if I can get one good alignment out of this kit, it paid for itself. If I can get multiples, then it's just easy money. And I have a problem trusting anybody to do decent work these days anyways. So I'm gonna show you the pieces of this real quick. It looks like it's very straightforward to put together. It came undamaged within a couple days of ordering it. I got off the eBay. I'll show you a link to where it's at in the description and a picture of the part number or whatever they call it exactly. Let's take a look at this thing and get to hopefully doing a good garage alignment. That's one thing I wanted to mention. I'm not going to say this is a driveway alignment, since driveways are typically not flat. They usually are graded for drainage away from the home. That's something I'll cover when we actually get the car in here. It might be in my shop garage, it might be in my attached garage, I don't know yet. It just depends on which pad's going to be the most level of the two. So it comes with the, we'll call this the, back plate or whatever you want to say. This is where your tape measure is actually going to connect to. It comes with a couple self-adhesive magnets that will go here. And the theory on that is to hold the metal end of your tape measure. I'm really hoping this is going to make setting toe and everything a lot easier. Just doing most of the stuff by myself. So always trying to hook a big Fat Max tape measure onto a tire tread and hold that while you jimmy over to the other side can be frustrating. So I think that's a pretty good idea. It comes with, of course, the two tape measures, some anti-skid little dudes, which I'm gonna actually not use. I'll explain that later. There's your easy adjusters. These four are actually gonna go in each of these slots on these plates, here and here. And that one is to actually touch the wheel when you're setting toe. The two longer ones will be going on our, we'll call it front plate, and that will be going through here. And that is just simply for when you're setting the alignment, down here and up here, I'm sorry. Setting your caster camber, I'm sorry, that you can touch the wheel with it as well. This is a magnetic, rechargeable, dual axis is what they claim, protractor. So it does have a metal bracket that it locks into, so you can actually adjust it how you want. That was one question I had that I couldn't find an answer to. And it comes with a charger even, which I was kind of happy about. Now I got the plates assembled. The one thing I was thinking about is wanting to use like a bubble level on it. So when you are setting your caster camber, if this thing's tilted, front to back of the vehicle while you're setting, caster camber this way, that way. So I thought it'd be kind of nice trying to make this a one-man job. Pop that little piece of steel on there. That way you get a magnetic based level that'll sit on there. So nice little tip, something quick and easy. This is an aluminum plate. Obviously need something metal to stick to, something steel. So keep that as a little trick up your sleeve if you're a one-man operation. Quality-wise on this stuff, it seems pretty good. Everything's pretty thick. This assembly was a couple minutes, super easy. Hate to say it, but if you can't figure out how to put these things together, you're probably not going to want to attempt your alone alignment. But other than that, I'll get the car in and we'll see if we can't get ourselves nice and straight going down the road. Now that the car is in the shop, like I said before, first thing that I did was grab my 3-foot level, put it on the concrete, made sure that it was within the bubble. It's surprisingly level, so that's the first box to check off. Is this alignment going to be as good as a digital alignment on a rack that costs $20,000? No, but it's going to be a heck of a lot better than eyeballing it. I'll be interested to see how close it is. That's pretty much how I did it before, with just a small level against the center cap and just literally looking down the center line of the body itself to see if it looked like it was towed in or out, or cambered in or out, positive, negative. Second thing I'm going to do after you check, make sure the ground's level, tire pressure. That makes a difference. After we make sure the tire pressures are the same, then I will move on to checking toe. This one, we want it towed in between 1/8 and 1/4 inch for the first gen Camaro. After I get the toe set, make sure the steering wheel's straight, that's when we're going to go into checking the actual camber. Caster, you're not going to really be able to adjust on this one with the factory A-arms anyways. If you don't know, caster is basically the front to back angling of the suspension like a strut for a modern car. So that's not anything to really worry about. Camber for a modern tire, somewhere between 1/2 degree negative to 1 degree is what I've been finding. Factory spec is 1/2 degree. So I'm going to probably just shoot for kind of in the middle, go 3/4 degree, just see how it drives. If you're not sure, it can be a little confusing. Negative camber is when your top of your tire is actually tilted in towards the body and the bottom of it is out away from the top. So your positive is the other way around. The top would be tipped out, away out from the body. The bottom of it would be towards the center of the vehicle. So that kind of gives you an idea of what you're trying to accomplish. You don't want it straight up and down. It makes it kind of not want to return steering very well. Makes it kind of feel like it wanders, is a good way to put it. And then also if you have it positive, it's really weird driving around with both of your wheels going down the road like this. Anyways, let me get this thing set up. So I'll start with tire pressure, get the toe plate set up. One thing I was thinking about, just kind of looking at it, the plates might be kind of a pain in the butt for setting toe, since I don't have the plates, the rotating plates. Those things are like $200 for a set, which if I do a lot of them, I'm just going to go ahead and get. Currently, the way I set toe is just off of the tread of the tire. That's kind of the old school method of doing it. And then once you do make an adjustment, you got to roll the car back and forth a few times to let the tire adjust, so the rubber's not holding it in place or binding it or anything. So I don't know, it might be a little bit easier to do it just with the straight tape measure, the old school way for toe. But as far as your camber adjustment, I think this is going to be pretty slick. Now that I got it set up, the magnets hold the tape measures in place. I do believe I'm going to be putting the little anti-skid pieces probably on the corner and then 6 inches away or so. That was the only thing that I found trying to get the first measurement off of it, was this plate wants to slide if you're not really careful with your tape measure when you're hooking it up. This side, you're pulling the tape anyways, so I wouldn't really worry about the little pads or anything. Way I've got it set now, I'm pretty much dead even. There is no real toe in, so I'm gonna make a slight adjustment to it quick. The tape measures are, I mean, very cheap tape measures. One thing you want to keep an eye on as well that I noticed is that the tape measure wants to bow a little bit. So just kind of pick it up, slightly pull tension on it when you actually make your real measurement. That makes it a little easier. Pretty nice though. I'll make a quick adjustment here, get this toe in, and then we'll go for the main reason why I bought this whole contraption. I'm trying to make sure that my alignment's correct. One little tip worth mentioning when you're setting toe on these is I like to take a paint stick and just make a little mark. That way I can count the rotation, because you can't always rely on the clamps. They do slip and slide, so just want to make you mention that. Setting toes fairly straightforward. The steering wheel was off to the driver's side just a touch, so I'm actually going to take the passenger side and lengthen the tie rod to see if I can't get a little bit between that 1/4 and 1/8 inch toe in. So going about a 1/2 turn lengthening did exactly what I needed. I'm right at about 73.5 on the front. And on the back side, it's gonna be hard to not get the camera flip out on you. Oops, sorry. And about an 1/8 inch, somewhere between that. So it's pretty much right in the middle of what I'm looking for of the spec. So I'm gonna lock her down and call that one check in check. It wasn't that bad to juggle, not worth a couple $100 for the turn plates unless you're really far out. I would say, just off this experience, just set it with the tape off of your tread blocks like we do all the time. Pick a tread block, stick a tape to it, run to your other side, pick the same tread block, measure it. That'll get you really close, so when you do use the plates, you're only maybe adjusting it once or twice just to really fine tune it. Because I did notice that the way they roll these treads over, it depends on where your tape measure catches, is gonna throw your measurement off a little bit, which I'm assuming is where I was, when I measured it with the tape on the tire, thinking I was, 1/8 inch in, when it was actually basically dead straight. So worked decent for this, takes a little bit of time. So I got the toe set. We're gonna move on to setting our camber. Like I say, 0.5 of a degree is negative camber is factory spec. I'm going to shoot for somewhere closer to 3/4 to kind of split the gap between what people are saying for radial tire. With the bubble intact, we try to keep this parallel. And let's see what we get here. So it looks like I am 0.2-ish negative, I believe. Yes. So we're going to say a 0.14 negative on this side. So that is actually a lot closer than I was expecting by just kind of eyeballing it earlier. So it kind of makes sense, just looking at this side. You're going to want to pull the upper control arm farther in to pull the top of the tire in. And you can see here, there are actually no shims. So I'm going to start off with just 2 of the standard 1/8 inch shims and see how close that gets us. And it's just that simple. That's about the most adjustment you have in this whole setup. Just loosen up your bolts, couple shims, pop them in there, tighten it back down, and check it again. So I put 1 1/8 inch shim on each side, as you can see. And I'm just going to start as kind of a gauge here just to kind of get an idea on how much degree just 1/8 inch changes it. Going to try for 3/4 of an inch and kind of hope for the best. I don't know how this digital screen is going to appear, so I apologize if it's not exactly the clearest for you, but I'll definitely let you know what the number is anyways. So with any luck, get it pretty close. If you can't see that, 0.72, 0.74. Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and call that good. Wow. But if you've worked on vehicles before, and one side goes super easy, typically the other side is a lot more fun. So keep my fingers crossed, and hopefully it's just that simple, because if this thing drives really well, this $120 little plate system is going to be one of my favorite tools here pretty quick. All right, time to do the driver's side. Let's get a little bit of a baseline on this one as well. Sure my bubble's good. Looks like I'm towed in 0.34. Huh. I figured this side was going to be towed in a lot more than that. So we're going to need to go. Based off the other side, I think I might try a 16th shim instead of an 1/8 inch. And we'll try that first, see what it does. All right, shim's installed. Give her a little wiggle room. And keep her fingers crossed. I cannot believe this is going to be this easy. But we shall find out. 0.75. Point 7.68. Something like that. So I went for. Yeesh. I don't know if adding another shim is going to be a good idea or not. All right, I'm going to try one more thin shim. I think it's going to put me out of spec, though. That was 0.66 to 0.70. Kind of depends on how I held it on the wheel. And one more shim. I'm just kind of educated guessing that I'm going to be on the wrong side of 3/4 of a degree. But, yeah. It's going to be custom shimming time. I took about half of a shim off. So hold my breath, because if this doesn't do it, then I'm waiting to order shims. Yo! You can't see that, it's 0.74. And that, my friends, I'm going to call a done deal. Wow. So after getting this thing set up, a couple little takeaways. This Vevor Alignment plate kit, in my opinion, is worth the $120-ish that you're going to pay for it. If nothing else, just for your camber. The flip side of that is I can't believe how close my old school $15 bubble was. If your goal is just to get the car on the road, wring out a couple bugs here and there from a full build, that's pretty hard to argue, especially if you have a decent, competent alignment shop close. I have no idea who to start with anymore since we moved out of state, so that's why I've been doing a lot more of my own projects. This setup is going to stay in my toolbox for quite a while, though. I am glad that I added that piece of plate, because making sure that the plate is actually level on there is a good idea. I'm going to give that one a 2 thumbs up. I really like it. We'll take it for a drive. Well, I'm gonna say that was a success. It definitely feels a lot better, not as wanting to track weird with different grooves in the road and stuff. So yeah, I'm happy with it for the money. Now if I just go home and clean up my horribly dirty windshield, we'll have something here. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe.